I have a special treat for you guys today, okay? Today we have Tulsi Gabbard, we got Tucker Carlson, and in this video, we going beyond the woke stuff. Oh yeah, we're talking about nuclear war, okay? Tulsi Gabbard sits down with Tucker Carlson and talks about the ramifications of Kamala Harris getting in office. All right, so we're getting right to it. I'm not wasting a second. All right, without further ado, if you sensitive, there's the door. Let's ride.
Kamala Harris has told us all we need to know about what kind of commander-in-chief she would be. And I don't know about you, but I would not trust her for a moment with the lives of my brothers and sisters in uniform.
So you,
Tulsi.
I mean, you were a sitting Democratic member of Congress, and you know them all, obviously. Them all, from Hillary Clinton, who hates you with a special kind of ferocity. I think she's called for putting you in prison.
This is true.
I think she literally wants to put you in prison. I think she said that. So I'm happy to have you join the exclusive club that I belong to. But like, what do they think of this? It's the Democratic Party, at least when I was growing up, was the party of, you know, hold a bake sale, the Pentagon doesn't need more bombers or whatever. And now it's just kill them all, let God sort them out because we're getting rich doing it. Are they comfortable with this? Like, what do they think of this behind closed doors?
This is again, showing kind of the realignment where you have Adam Kinzinger and Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney supporting and endorsing Kamala Harris proudly, people who have been neocons and are neocons, not hesitating to say, let's go to war in any and all situations, regardless of the cost and consequence. And then you have people like Bobby Kennedy and myself and others who are standing with Donald Trump, not because we agree on every single thing under the sun, but because we agree on the most important things, which is really about our ability as Americans to live and thrive in a truly free and prosperous society. And we can.
Bingo, 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 bingo. Tulsi, you nailed it. All right. Ultimately, this is what it's about. I would tell you there are things that Trump does that I don't agree with. Absolutely, 1000%. Right. And there's obviously things that, you know, Kamala does that I don't agree with neither. But again, it's if you go on his site, he lists out what he's going to do. Right. And a lot of that aligns with what I think this country needs ultimately, and is not currently getting under the current administration. And most people, we're going to keep it real. Look, I'm just going to tell it to you straight. Let me look at the camera. Most people don't want this man in office so bad, and it's so personal to them that they're almost blinded to all the stuff that he's saying he's going to do and take care of, right? Which we're obviously going to hold him, you know, responsible for and accountable for when he gets into office, 1000%. It doesn't mean it's just sweet. Oh, I'm in office now, you know, like there's no dilly-dally, right? Let's execute. But that part of it is interesting to me. But anyway, back to the video. Let me know what you guys think, but back to the video.
Cannot be free or prosperous unless we're at peace.
I remember when the war in Ukraine broke out in February of 2022, and I just want to say at the outset, there are tons of people I respect and love and am related to who had very different views of that war than mine. I don't judge anyone who reaches different conclusions. But the one thing that I do judge people on is not caring about getting in a nuclear war. I just have too many children, I guess. And you were one of the first people to say, you know, whatever you think of this conflict or how it started or how it might end, we should be concerned because this is the largest nuclear arsenal on the planet, and we could wind up in a nuclear war that would kill everyone in the world. And I remember that you were denounced as like a Nazi for worrying about nuclear war.
Yeah.
And now we're even closer. Does anyone in Washington understand this or care?
They don't care. That's a fact. If they did care, they wouldn't speak so easily about the fact that we are closer to the brink of nuclear war than ever before in our country's history. I was warning about this back in 2019, 2020 when I was running for president, talking about this threat, how if we are continuing to wage what then I called a new Cold War, if we're continuing to increase tensions and heighten tensions with other nuclear-armed countries in the world, the inevitable outcome of that is nuclear war, and we should all be very clear-eyed about what that means. That if a nuclear missile was headed our way, which, by the way, all of us in this country are within range of a nuclear missile, what happens? You might get an alert go off on your phone saying, as we did in Hawaii, as you remember back in 2017, we had this missile alert that went off saying, missile inbound to Hawaii, seek shelter immediately, this is not a drill. And so for everyone across Hawaii that morning, there was that thought like, wow, I may only have 15 minutes to live.
Can you imagine how scary, that's an understatement. Scary is an understatement. Like how you must feel like your stomach twisting and turning, getting a text like that, knowing the seriousness of any sort of nuclear weapon. And by the way, they are way, way more powerful than they were back in the 1940s or whenever it was dropped, right? I could be wrong with the date. I probably am, but back in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right? It's way more powerful, right? So, and that isn't even an understatement, right? I think I saw something where it said it's like however many times more powerful. It's ridiculous anyway. But anyway, yeah, let me know how you guys feel about that, personally, because me, look, if I got a text like that, that would be crazy. Back to video.
And just like we're sitting here in this hall here tonight, people may have been sitting on the beach, it was early on a Saturday morning, or making breakfast or whatever was going on. What do you do? Where do you go? There is no shelter. And therefore, then there is the inevitable realities that if there is a nuclear war, it results in annihilation of all living things.
That's right.
And yet so I was talking about this and warning about this when I was running for president. Every single day, multiple times a day, every single town hall, trying to open people's eyes up and get other candidates for president to talk about this, get the media to talk about this, because no one wanted to do it. I even had a reporter who came up to me who was, they have these reporters who follow the different candidates around, and she came up to me and she's like, Tulsi, you talk about this every single day. Don't you have anything else to talk about? What is there to talk about if we are in the midst of a nuclear Armageddon? What else is there to talk about? And so fast forward to now where we are today. Unfortunately, things have gotten far, far much worse, not better. And you have these so-called security experts and defense experts and pundits on television being so dangerous and careless, talking about nuclear war, and we have these smaller nuclear weapons, and we'll drop one, and we'll send a strong message, and talking about a nuclear bomb as though you can just go lob a nuclear bomb and there will be no consequence. And they're lying to the American people in doing so. It is so incredibly dangerous because that's not real. It's not rooted in reality. Ronald Reagan and Gorbachev said it best in 1985 when they issued that joint statement together, recognizing this risk, saying that a nuclear war cannot be won and should never be fought. And yet we have the neocons, Democrats and Republicans alike, who are eager to push us into this potential of World War III that can only end in a nuclear war.
So, people throw around.
All right, so she said a lot there. Tulsi said a lot there. Let's unpack, let's let that marinate. So, one thing I will say is, the amount of wars that have just broken out and that have been started, to me, is mind-boggling, right? And this administration's ability to not be able to handle it, in my opinion, as effective as possible. I understand, sending all this money to Ukraine and all this stuff, but, ultimately, everybody looks at America as, well, not right now. Right now, we're probably the laughingstock, but they should look at it as, okay, this is the leader, right? You need a strong leader. You need somebody who's going to be the face and, be somebody that's like, yo, don't mess with this guy or don't F with this guy, right? This guy means business. This guy's serious. This guy's not playing, right? That's important. And that starts also with how you do at home. If your own people are struggling, then how are we going to help people wherever, right? Wherever else, right? So this is just, a part of my thinking, and maybe I'm wrong for thinking like this. Let me know in the comment section. But I believe take care of home, right? And then maybe go worry about sending, however many. And I'm not saying don't help other countries. That's not what I'm saying. But let's kind of bring it back to the video, though.
The word demonic, but if that's not demonic, then what is, kind of? If you have no regard for the lives of your own people,
I just said this.
Then what won't you do?
And you talked about this. I mean, there are a lot of people making a lot of money around continuing to, yes, it's fomenting fear, but continuing to push us closer because, okay, well, we have to build new weapons and more weapons and bigger weapons and more powerful weapons, as though, we have over 5,000 nuclear weapons. Russia has, I think, over 6,000. It takes one. It takes one. And the nuclear weapons we have today are many, many, many times more powerful than what was used in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's the bottom line. And this is both what is so dark about this moment that we are in as a country, but also what should give us hope in this election is that it doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way. I know you've talked to President Trump. I've talked to President Trump. He has raised it behind closed doors and over again in public, the seriousness of the prospect of nuclear war, and talked about his commitment to walking us back from the brink. So really the choice is ours as voters. And so as you have conversations with your friends who may not know quite what to do, or they're like, I don't know, I don't like the way Donald Trump tweets or what he says, fine. Let's talk about our ability to live.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's just
we like
start
to do that.
there.
So I guess I'm repeating the same point again and again because it shocks me every single day, but the ruthlessness and the recklessness of the people currently in charge doesn't seem to have any boundaries at all. And I just am struck by the fact that our foreign policy, which most of us ignore, I spent most of my life ignoring foreign policy, does seem to be driving domestic policy, right? So one of the ways that they tried to delegitimize you and threatened actually to criminally charge you was by claiming that you were somehow allied with a foreign government. We just saw indictments this week by the Biden administration meant to cast doubt on criticism of the Biden administration. Oh, it's Russia. Kamala's losing, it's Russia again. I'm worried. I mean, they put a bunch of people I know in prison already, a bunch.
Wow.
I have a friend in prison right now for doing nothing, Steve Bannon. I'm worried that if Kamala Harris wins, lots of people are going to go to prison on the grounds that they are somehow allied with foreign countries.
Yeah, no. So that's a worry. That's a worry, Tucker. That's a worry. But there's a lot more that we gonna be worried about. You know what I mean? From everyday life, as far as again, people not being able to afford their groceries, their rent, like people not being able to, or their mortgage or whatever, right? All the situations that's happening right now with the wars and the border and all this stuff, right? This all affects our everyday lives. And for the people too, let me also look in the camera. Let me say this too, for the people that say, oh, well, and I was one of them, 1000%. Because at the end of the day, yes, like you control your future 1000%. So I'm not just putting it on a president to control everything that happens in your life. However, it has definitely gotten to the point and getting to the point where, no, it definitely will impact your life. And it is impacting your everyday life. So it actually is important to make that decision, right? All right, guys. So again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you think I'm wrong. Leave it in the comment section below, okay? I get active in those comments, okay, guys? Thank you so much for your support. Make sure you slap the like button and you headbutt the subscribe button for more. Until next time, peace.